Yeah, there we go. So I've been working over the last year on Ophir, and can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, good.
and we
So
can see this too.
this, this is the next to the last building for that area, and it's the general merchandise. This is a Banta kit that I've been working on and that Ray fervently hopes I'll finish up so we can get it mounted well we can both get under the layout. And anyway, it's pretty much the stock Banta kit, but with a few things going on. It's not the world's easiest kit because of some of the roof line and these dormers, but uh, I did put an interior into it that I'll talk about in a minute. And I actually have some photos that I think I'll share because it'll be easier than me jig-jagging around. But uh, so that's what I've been working on with the Just Plug LEDs on it. There's a few external details yet. There's going to be a gas pump and then a bench back here with a gentleman sitting on it that comes from an old photograph of Ophir. So um, now as soon as I figure out how to get this back to me. Everything's different on the phone and they keep moving buttons around. So um, back to me here, then I'll get it out of here. Okay, so the other, make this a little easier just so people can see what we've been doing. And Ray has done a lot with this as well because he can climb under the bench work a little bit better than I, but I've been working on the buildings and some of the material for the scenery. So let's see, let me share again. And this time we'll go to that. And so just so you have kind of an idea of the look we're going for, both in the backdrop and also for our three-dimensional scenery. These are just a few pictures of Ophir in the time. And we're kind of looking, you know, at the contour of the terrain as well as the slope and also the trees that were around that area. Now, this is a more of a after the leaves have fallen, but you can see there's a tremendous amount of aspen in the area, and that have grown up there. So that's how the tram house. Mostly, I got this for showing how we did some of the contouring of the terrain. It's stacked styrofoam that's been carved and then covered with sculptamold, and then the rocks are Bragdon resin cast rocks, which, you know, when you think, Eric, about how much weight you're going to have on parts of shelves or something, you may want to consider that as an alternative. And certainly, a lot of the guys at the Denver club use the Bragdon stuff on their modules. So this is where we're starting to put in and beginning to try and match the terrain. Ray has been the tree planter. Charlotte and I have made the trees. We're looking at springtime in the mid to late 30s. And so the armatures for these trees are commercial. They're JTT, and they come in N, HO, and O scale. And we just buy all of them and paint the bare armatures with white paint. The contour in the distance that we're at, the contour in the distance, gives you some irregularity that you see in the trunks. So we didn't bother to make little black marks or anything on them because they sort of show up anyway. So that's that. Now the Oilton Club will go off on the slope just to the right. I don't know if you see my mouse or not, or my cursor. But that, and then the general merchandise is off screen even further to the right. And we just gradually plant more trees. So this is the building, and a couple of interesting things about it. It obviously, come back, has this platform, which was kind of unique. On the dormer on the right has just a window in it. The dormer on the left actually has a door in it. And then there's this platform that goes to the road coming into Ophir. And then there is a deck just underneath that has a stairwell on it as well, and then there's a stairwell up to the road in front of the shed building portion that I haven't built yet. One of the interesting tricks is trying to get that little platform into the right position, and what I've found actually most useful, or one technique, and I'm going to stop the share just a second so I could show this, are Legos. And you can stack Legos up to very near the height of what you want the shed to be level, and sometimes I shim it with a little piece of styrene as well, but then you've got something that's relatively small and can fit into smaller, awkward places. And there are a lot of uses for Legos. You can stack them up and use them as a right angle jig. You can stack them up and use them to make a mold box. So that you can cast latex molds in it. It's really kind of interesting, but it was interesting to see what to do. So let me go back. So, and I've just got a bunch of pictures here, not of which are edited or anything, but and then the other trick with was the light. That's a Just Plug Nano LED, and for it, well, when we let's look a little more here at the interior of the store. Here, I've got several figures in there. I used a piece of strip wood for the counter. And then all that you see there on the back wall is a printed piece of plain old computer paper I made it wide enough I could put wings on it. And I just glued the wings, folded them back and glued them to the sidewalls on that. And it makes a reasonable looking backdrop for the store. And then some of these things you see in store windows or on the store counters, the indication, those are beads from Hobby Lobby or something, but they make interesting objects to kind of display. And they're just sitting on a piece of strip wood, which makes those counters on that. So, and then with the figures, you sometimes have problems. These are Scene Master figures, which are sort of cheaply made, and there's sort of a flexible, I would almost say a vinyl on that. And unfortunately, they put them on, they glue them to a piece of clear plastic, and then they glue that plastic onto another larger piece of plastic to sit inside the packaging. And you try and take them off by various techniques, and I haven't found a perfect one yet. You often lose a piece of a shoe or a heel and so forth, which I really don't like at all. This lady in the brown dress over here on the left, turned out she lost her shoes as well. So I put her in where you can't see her feet. And because she tended to fall backwards, I glued her to the counter, the display counter on the other side of the window. And in this view and wherever you're going to be at, you're not ever going to see that she is basically footless in that regard. This lady up front here, and I think maybe I have a better picture, I used some side cutters and cut until I got it basically down to the shoe in terms of the size. A little nip here, a little nip there, and then I sanded it a little bit. But she's slightly taller than she might be otherwise. Then the only other thing was the light on that. As I say, that's a nano LED, and I didn't want all the wires showing up front, although I've done that in the past. So I brought the wiring into the building through the floor behind my faux backdrop. And then the question was how to get it where I wanted it. And what I did finally with that was plastic straws from the dollar store. And you can trim and with some white glue hold, you can basically make a 90-degree angle. So the wiring and the LED comes through the floor, through the straw, and out at this end. And then I paper punched a hole in my backdrop, a little round hole, and mounted it through there. So, and I painted this black at that. So if anyone were to look in there, it would look like some kind of conduit, but you really can't see it through the windows. And then the LED is where I wanted it in order to do this. So interesting project, not without some frustrations, but I've got just a few more little pieces to add on to it. I think I'm to the point now where if I'm going to look at the stairway that comes up the from the front sidewalk, that I need to take it out back and see how the terrain is going to be. The original structure sat on a hill, and the rear wall and the side wall have foundation pieces that actually drop below ground level or floor level if you're looking at it. So there's a little bit of cut and paste kinds of things to figure out with it yet. But that's basically what I've been up to.
Really neat. Again, thanks.
Oh, the
So
other thing, the
the
other thing
roof on that? Oh, go ahead.
other thing I found was with these vinyl figures to get them to stand up straight. I'm just playing with this at this point, but are these real almost dollhouse or slightly larger than dollhouse clothespins that you can find at places like Hobby Lobby. You get a bag and you set them on the platform and put your figure in the grip of it, and then that just sets and holds it till the glue dries. You can also do this sometimes if you're planting trees and you want the tree to stand straight. You can use this or larger clothespins to help clamp it in place. So anyway, done.
Did the roof come with the kit, the roof material?
Yes, yes. And this was interesting because this building apparently had hexagonal shingles, which are a bitch. And if because you have to align the rows to try and get it to somewhat fit as a hexagon. I wasn't really pleased with it, but you know, this is not a contest model. This goes far enough away that I'm not likely to see it until I have my cataracts fixed or something. And so on that, but it was interesting, and I spray painted it with gray, and then I decided to put just the roof cap is just two pieces instead of doing a like you often see roof caps where it's a number of layers. And to get the idea, I decided how far down I wanted it to come, and with construction paper or things, that's actually a gray construction paper I used for the roof cap to get it to the right size and fold it. You know, I've done this whole thing where you cut off a narrow strip and then you try and fold it and make it come out even. And I'm not very good at that. So what I did was I took a regular sheet of white paper and I folded it over where I wanted it. And then when I had that folded crease in, then I just measured down from the top of the crease the width I wanted, like a 1/16 of an inch in this case, and marked that, and then cut both pieces of paper in the fold. You basically cut the fold off. And then when you've got that off, what you're left with is your that fold. You've already got a pre-folded even strip of roofing material and some scraps.
Can you buy that roofing material just separate?
Yes, you can. There are a number of companies that make it. Wild West Scale Models has some excellent roofing material that's even more textured, but you can also get shingles, you know, plain old wood shake shingles. And you can get hexagonal stuff too. I think another source besides Wild West Scale Models is Best Trains. Best, yeah, BEST. They do a lot of kits. They do a lot of shingles. They do a lot of quite a variety of cast metal figures. At the conventions, they always have, you know, these enormous boards of various cast metal figures that, and then they have their own wood stains now. The company or the brand name of that is Vetro. But if you're doing wood kits, that's another source of stains besides Hunterline. But Best Trains is a pretty good thing. And he's just taken over another little company that made some superb resin cast structures, that kits that you can build up. The so it's nice to see that they're still around, but he's been getting them ready to sell again.